Welcome to British Focus, your go-to channel for the latest political developments and insightful discussions on everything shaping the UK today. If you want to stay informed with in-depth analysis and unbiased reporting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring you more content that truly matters. Today, we dive into a major political controversy that has sparked heated debates across the country. The Electoral Commission is considering launching an investigation into the Labour Party over concerns about potential indirect funding from the European Union. What does this mean for the party? And how could it impact the political landscape in the UK? We'll break it all down for you. Now, let's get into the full story. The Labour Party is once again at the centre of a major funding scandal, and this time, it involves possible indirect financing from the European Union. Yes, you heard that right. The very institution that Britain chose to leave in order to regain sovereignty may still be influencing our political landscape, and not in a subtle way. The Electoral Commission is now considering opening an investigation into Labour over concerns that they may have benefited from EU-backed funding, raising serious questions about transparency, legality, and the true independence of Keir Starmer's party. At the heart of this controversy is a £30,000 donation made by the Foundation for European Progressive Studies, FEPS, an organisation financially supported by the EU, to the Fabian Society, a left-leaning think tank that just happens to have deep ties with the Labour Party. Now, let's be honest, this isn't just a random donation to a neutral research group. The Fabian Society openly boasts about its connection with Labour, stating on its own website that it is affiliated to the Labour Party and works closely with Labour politicians. In fact, every Labour Prime Minister in history has been a Fabian. So, when an EU-funded foundation gives a significant amount of money to this organisation, it's not hard to see why people are questioning whether this is a backdoor route for Brussels to exert influence over Labour. And it gets worse. FEPS has already been fined £30,000 by the EU's own watchdog for breaking funding regulations, specifically for providing indirect financial support to a political party. The money in question reportedly helped finance a conference and book launch in January 2023, attended by multiple Labour politicians. This raises a crucial point. If the EU itself has determined that these funds violated political financing laws, why isn't the Labour Party immediately distancing itself from the Fabian Society and refusing any association with this money? Why are they not addressing this head-on and assuring the British public that their funding sources are fully transparent? Under UK electoral law, donations over £500 to organisations affiliated with political parties must come from permissible sources, and any sum exceeding £11,180 must be formally reported to the Electoral Commission. The fact that this EU-backed money went towards activities closely linked to Labour raises serious doubts about the party's compliance with these rules. At best, this is a major oversight. At worst, this is an attempt to skirt regulations and maintain secret funding streams that could compromise Britain's democratic process. And let's not forget the broader context. Brexit was supposed to free the UK from EU influence. Yet here we are, years later, still dealing with potentially illegal financial ties between the Labour Party and Brussels-affiliated organisations. If Labour were truly committed to honouring Brexit and ensuring British democracy remains independent, they would immediately pledge to reject all funding from EU-affiliated groups. But have they done so? No. Instead, they remain silent, hoping that the controversy blows over. So, what do you think? Should Labour be held accountable for this? And should the Electoral Commission launch a full-scale investigation into their financial ties? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more updates on the stories that matter to Britain. The backlash against Labour over its alleged indirect EU funding is growing, and frankly, it's not surprising. The Conservative Party has come out swinging, calling the situation scandalous, and can you really blame them? After years of fighting for British independence, we now discover that a party positioning itself as a government in waiting is entangled in financial links with EU-backed organisations. It's not just a bad look for Labour, it's a direct challenge to the integrity of our democracy. Nigel Huddleston, co-chairman of the Conservative Party, has been crystal clear. This kind of financial entanglement with Brussels is utterly unacceptable. Brexit was supposed to break the UK's dependence on the European Union. Yet here we are, with Labour-affiliated groups taking tens of thousands of pounds from an EU-backed foundation. And let's be honest, this isn't just about a one-off donation. It raises serious concerns about who is really influencing Labour's policies and whether they are truly committed to a post-Brexit Britain or secretly looking to undo it from within. If Labour had nothing to hide, they would immediately reject any future funding from EU-linked organisations. Yet, they remain silent, hoping this scandal will fade away. Why won't Keir Starmer and his party take a firm stance and assure the British people that their policies are not being shaped by Brussels? If they want to lead this country, they need to prove that they serve Britain's interests, not those of European bureaucrats. Meanwhile, the Foundation for European Progressive Studies, FEPS, the organisation at the heart of this scandal, has desperately tried to defend itself. Their argument? That they exist to advise and support social democratic movements. But here's the problem. Even the EU's own watchdog found them guilty of violating political financing rules. If an organisation is so blatantly breaking EU laws, why should we believe their money has no strings attached when it lands in the hands of Labour-affiliated groups? This isn't just about money, it's about trust. If Labour is serious about representing the British people, it must prove its independence from EU influence. So, what do you think? Should Labour publicly pledge to reject all future EU-backed donations, or does their silence speak volumes? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the biggest stories shaping Britain. The Labour Party is now at a crossroads, and the decision they make in the coming weeks could have serious political consequences. The Electoral Commission is still reviewing the case, but if Labour is found to have breached funding rules, they could face legal penalties and, more importantly, a devastating political backlash. And let's be honest, this scandal isn't just about technicalities, it's about trust. Can a party that might have been quietly benefiting from EU-backed funds really be trusted to govern a post-Brexit Britain? Labour now faces a tough choice: cut ties with EU-linked funding sources and prove their commitment to British sovereignty, or double down and risk being permanently branded as a party still under Brussels' influence. The optics here matter. If Starmer wants to present himself as the leader of a strong, independent Britain, he cannot afford to be seen as a puppet of the EU. Yet, Labour's silence on this issue is deafening. If they had nothing to hide, wouldn't they be eager to clear their name and assure the public they're playing by the rules? The reality is, British voters won't take kindly to any suggestion that a major political party is compromising national independence for foreign influence. Labour needs to make a choice: Britain first, or Brussels first. The longer they stay quiet, the more people will suspect the answer. What do you think? Should Labour publicly commit to rejecting all future EU-backed donations? Or does their hesitation already reveal too much? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on the biggest issues shaping Britain. Other news now, and yet again, Labour is at the centre of controversy, this time over their new border security bill, which many are calling a dangerous rollback of key protections against illegal immigration. Instead of strengthening Britain's borders, this legislation weakens existing rules, making it easier for illegal migrants to settle in the UK. So, the big question is, why is Labour so determined to make Britain a soft target for illegal migration? One of the most shocking changes in this bill is the repeal of laws that barred illegal immigrants from ever gaining British citizenship. That's right, under Labour's new rules, someone who entered the UK illegally could still end up with full rights, effectively rewarding those who break the law. How does this make any sense? Surely, if we want to deter illegal crossings, the message should be clear: if you come to Britain illegally, you will not be allowed to stay. Instead, Labour's plan does the complete opposite, sending a signal that the UK is open for exploitation. And it gets worse. Labour is also scrapping measures that required asylum seekers to be treated as adults if they refused to take age verification tests. This means that grown men could now be placed in accommodation alongside vulnerable teenage girls simply because they claim to be underage. Let's not forget, we've already seen cases where adult migrants have exploited these loopholes to gain access to schools, housing, and benefits meant for actual children. Other European nations, like France and Germany, use medical tests to verify age, yet Labour's plan seems to ignore these safeguards entirely. Why? Why is Starmer's party more concerned with appeasing activist groups than protecting British citizens? Labour is selling this bill as a counter-terror crackdown, but let's be real, what does making it easier for illegal migrants to stay have to do with stopping terrorism? The truth is, this bill does nothing to enhance security. It only makes it harder to control who enters and who stays. And we all know what happens when border policies become weak. Human traffickers and criminal gangs take full advantage. So, the question is, who is this bill really helping? Because it certainly isn't the British people. Labour is gambling with national security, and if this bill passes, the UK will become a magnet for illegal immigration, exploitation, and abuse. Do you think this is the right direction for Britain? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this critical issue. Labour's immigration policy is coming under fierce criticism, and for good reason. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp has slammed Keir Starmer for being weak on border security, and let's be honest, he's not wrong. Labour's approach is making it easier for illegal migrants to game the system, and the consequences could be disastrous. One of the biggest concerns is the safety of British teenagers, as Labour's new plan removes safeguards that prevented adult men from being placed in accommodation with underage girls. Yes, you heard that right. Grown men could now be housed with minors simply because they claim to be children. Other European nations, like France and Germany, use medical testing to verify the ages of asylum seekers, but Labour refuses to implement these basic protections. Why? Why should Britain have weaker standards than our European neighbours? Former Home Secretary Suella Braverman has called out this reckless policy, warning that it destroys key protections against illegal migration. And she's absolutely right. Labour's plan erases hard-fought safeguards, making the UK an easy target for fraudsters, traffickers, and criminals. Meanwhile, Rupert Lowe didn't hold back either, describing Britain's asylum system as soft as a boiled maggot, a brutal but painfully accurate assessment. Migrants are exploiting loopholes by lying about their age, religion, and even sexuality to fast-track asylum claims. How can anyone argue that this system is fair? The reality is simple. Labour is weakening border security at the worst possible time. If Starmer truly cared about national safety, he would be strengthening the system, not tearing down vital protections. What do you think? Should the UK introduce stricter verification measures? Or is Labour's soft-touch approach already proving disastrous? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this crucial issue. The government is standing firm on its border policy, insisting that the new immigration bill strengthens national security while maintaining robust processes for verifying the age of asylum seekers. Ministers argue that, unlike Labour's reckless approach, these measures will protect British citizens while ensuring that the system isn't exploited by those trying to cheat their way into the country. And let's be honest, without strict controls, the UK risks becoming a magnet for illegal migration. The National Age Assessment Board remains active, and officials assure us that scientific methods are in place to verify the ages of asylum seekers. This is a crucial safeguard, given the alarming number of cases where adult men have falsely claimed to be children in order to gain access to schools, benefits, and accommodation. Yet Labour, instead of supporting common-sense policies, is actively dismantling these protections. Why? Who actually benefits from this? Because it certainly isn't the British people. This is about national security, about fairness, and about ensuring that those who come to the UK do so legally and honestly. The government is taking a firm stance, but the real question is, will Labour's dangerous agenda undo all of these efforts? What do you think? Should we be tightening our borders even further? Or is the current system already strong enough? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay informed, hit that like button and subscribe to British Focus for more updates on the biggest political stories shaping the UK. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.